Everything shifts the moment you notice what's been invisible all along, not the world outside you, but the code running underneath it. Think about this. Every single emotion, reaction, coincidence you've lived through has been responding to a silent command, not from the universe against you, but from the frequency you didn't know you were broadcasting. The quantum code isn't an external password you have to find. It's the internal command line your body and mind send into the field every second without your awareness. Most people try to fix life from the outside, working harder, thinking more positively, scripting new affirmations, while the code beneath keeps looping the same old pattern. They change words but not vibration. They think they're rewriting the story, yet the energetic syntax remains identical. Imagine walking into a room where a hidden speaker hums a low tone. You can decorate the walls, move the furniture, light candles, but until you tune that underlying frequency, every detail vibrates to the same background note. That's how the quantum field reads you. It doesn't read effort, it reads resonance. When your nervous system, thoughts, and body pulse in harmony, the field mirrors coherence instantly. You've probably felt it before. Those moments when everything flows, people call back, ideas click, synchronicities line up. That's not luck. It's alignment with your own code. But when the signal splits, when your mind says one thing and your body broadcasts another, the field mirrors the static. You send a yes wrapped in a no, and reality hesitates. The shift isn't about forcing clarity. It's about restoring coherence at the source. Here's the paradox most never see. Your energy doesn't change because you think better thoughts. It changes because you embody a different signal. In the quantum field, embodiment is language. Your cells are your syntax, and the key can flip faster than you've ever believed, sometimes in seconds, because when you understand how the code actually executes, you stop trying to write over it and start speaking from it. So what is this code made of? How does your body, your attention, and your emotion act as the programming language of reality itself? Let's decode that. Let's strip the mystery away. Think of the quantum field as a vast mirror. Not a reflective surface made of glass, but an intelligent mirror of vibration, one that instantly reflects the signal you emit, not the image you wish to see. It doesn't judge or delay, it simply duplicates coherence. When your internal state is clear, the mirror reflects clarity. When you're fractured, the mirror echoes fragmentation. And because it responds in real time, it only takes seconds for your energy, and therefore your external experience, to shift. Here's the mechanism. Your attention is the cursor, your emotion is the code, and your body is the transmitter. Wherever your awareness lingers, your nervous system starts broadcasting that frequency. If you fixate on worry, the mirror flashes worry-shaped possibilities back. When you return to coherence, meaning your thoughts, breath, and heartbeat move in sync, the field reconfigures instantly to that new pattern. It's not magic, it's physics and biology in duet. Your heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in your body. When that rhythm aligns with calm, gratitude, or love, your entire system sends a new instruction into the invisible architecture around you. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words, it calibrates to your coherence. And here's the radical truth. Coherence doesn't require hours of meditation or perfect concentration. It begins the moment you stop fighting your current state and become aware of it fully. Observation itself reorganizes the energy. That's the observer effect at the personal level. Your awareness collapsing infinite possibilities into one lived outcome. Imagine your mind and body as musicians tuning before a performance. When one is slightly off, the sound feels dissonant. But the instant they tune to the same note, harmony fills the space. That harmony is coherence. In the quantum mirror, it reads as a clear signal, and the field rearranges to match it. Every thought, every breath, every gesture becomes a command line in that invisible code. The more precisely you inhabit the signal of alignment, the faster reality mirrors it back. That's why some shifts seem miraculous. They're not miracles. They're updates propagating through a living system. But there's a catch. Most of us try to change our reflection instead of our signal. We reach toward the mirror, demanding it show something new while broadcasting the same emotion underneath. The code can't be hacked by pretending. It can only be rewritten by coherence. And that's where the real breakthrough begins. Because what happens when you stop trying to fix your reflection and instead start understanding the myths that keep you coded into struggle? That's where the next layer of the code reveals itself. One of the biggest myths about energy shifting is the idea that you need to force your vibration higher, like climbing an invisible ladder toward happiness. That's where most people exhaust themselves. They confuse control with creation. The truth? Energy doesn't change because you push it. It changes because you stop resisting what's already moving through you. The quantum mirror doesn't demand effort, it demands honesty. The moment you meet what's real, without defense, you free the code that's been looping underneath. Let me show you. A woman sits at her desk, staring at her phone. She's waiting for a text from someone she's sure is losing interest. Her heart races, her stomach tightens, her mind replays every message she sent. She tries to stay high vibe, repeating affirmations, smiling through tension, but the more she pushes for peace, the more her body screams the opposite. From the outside, she looks composed. Inside, her signal is chaos, fear of loss, lack of safety, desperate control. And that's exactly what the mirror reflects. Silence, static, delay. Not because she's being punished, but because the field can't tune to two frequencies at once. Here's the shift. Instead of suppressing the panic, she exhales once, deep, slow, honest. She feels the raw ache in her chest and names it. I'm scared. No pretending. No spiritual bypass. Just pure awareness. Within seconds, her breath softens, shoulders drop, her heartbeat steadies. That single moment of truth reorganizes her entire field. Why? Because her energy just moved from resistance to coherence. She's no longer broadcasting split signals. The mirror reads the update immediately. Minutes later, the message comes through. Not because she manifested a text, but because she stopped broadcasting lack. This is the paradox. Alignment isn't about forcing positivity. It's about unblocking honesty. When your energy stops lying, the field stops hesitating. You don't manifest from pretending to be fine. You manifest from embodying truth until your system stabilizes. It's like debugging software. You can't rewrite a line of code you refuse to see. But the instant you spot the glitch, the limiting belief, the fear, you already start updating the program. Awareness is the patch. Coherence is the installation. So next time you find yourself gripping for an outcome, remember, your power isn't in the chase. It's in the tune. But there's an even deeper gate most people miss. One that decides whether your new signal even registers in the field. It's the invisible bridge between awareness and embodiment. And it all starts in the nervous system. Every quantum signal you emit passes through one gate first, your nervous system. It's the bridge between your consciousness and the field, the hardware that translates frequency into biology. And here's the thing, no matter how powerful your thoughts are, if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, it won't let the new code upload. Safety is the foundation of coherence. Without it, your signal flickers. You might affirm abundance while your body quietly tightens around fear. You might visualize success while your gut contracts with threat. The field doesn't hear your words. It hears the contraction. When you feel unsafe, your system moves into protection mode. The heart rate rises, breath shortens, muscles tense. This survival pattern locks energy into self-defense. It's not wrong. It's intelligent. But you can't broadcast creation from protection. Creation requires openness. Here's the paradox most people miss. You don't reach coherence by trying to relax. You reach it by signaling safety to your body until relaxation becomes automatic. The nervous system doesn't speak English. It speaks sensation. So let's practice. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your breath without changing it. Notice its texture, tight, shallow, or open. Place one hand on your heart, one on your lower belly. Now, breathe in through your nose as if you're inhaling from deep beneath your feet. Hold for a second. Exhale slowly, through your mouth, like you're releasing static from your body. Do this 3 times. Now notice, your shoulders soften, your jaw unclenches, your thoughts start to widen. That widening is coherence forming. The heart begins to sync with the breath with the mind with presence. This is not relaxation for comfort. It's recalibration for power. You are aligning the transmitter. Each time you do this, your heart's electromagnetic field expands, creating measurable order around you. People feel it. Situations respond. You don't need to convince reality anymore. You start to magnetize it. This is why every true manifestation begins in the body. Your nervous system either opens the portal or guards it. The more consistently you teach it safety, through breath, grounding, gentle awareness, the more stable your quantum signal becomes. And here's the magic. When safety becomes your baseline, energy moves instantly. The shift that once took weeks can now happen in seconds because there's no internal resistance. The field reads a clear, unbroken code. But coherence isn't the final stage. It's the doorway. Once the body stabilizes, something deeper begins to reveal itself. The difference between temporary emotional states and the enduring identity that programs them all. And that's where the next unlock happens. There's a subtle trap most people fall into after they taste coherence for the first time. They chase the state. That brief rush of peace, clarity, or expansion feels so good that they start trying to get it back, again and again. But the moment you chase it, you've lost it. Why? Because coherence isn't meant to be a moment you visit. It's meant to be the language you live from. The difference between a fleeting state and a stable identity is what separates temporary alignment from true transformation. A state is like tuning into a song. You feel it, then it fades. Identity is becoming the instrument that always plays in tune. You can breathe, ground, and feel safe for a few minutes. But if deep down you still believe you're someone who struggles, who never gets chosen, who has to fight for peace, that belief will override every practice. The field mirrors the deeper frequency, not the momentary feeling. Here's the shift. You stop asking, how can I stay in this state? And start asking, who is the version of me for whom this state is natural? That question rewires everything. Because when you identify as someone already coherent, your body reorganizes to match it. The nervous system stops scanning for danger and starts broadcasting safety as your default. That's the real frequency upgrade. Not mood management, but identity calibration. You've probably noticed this with people who seem effortlessly magnetic. They don't try to stay high vibe. They are the vibration. It's coded into how they walk, speak, breathe. Their baseline becomes the broadcast. And this is where manifestation stops being a ritual and starts being a reflection. You're no longer trying to align. Alignment becomes who you are. The mirror doesn't need to be convinced. It just mirrors the new identity instantly. So how do you step into that? You start living as if the update already installed. Not pretending, but practicing embodiment. Acting, breathing, deciding from the frequency you've chosen, until your cells start memorizing it. Identity isn't a concept. It's a rhythm. Once you find the rhythm that matches your desired reality, you sustain it not through effort, but through coherence. And here's where the quantum field gets even more fascinating. Because identity doesn't just change your energy, it changes your timeline. Every version of you exists as a different broadcast in the field. When you stabilize one identity, you literally tune into its corresponding reality. And that's where the next revelation begins. Picture this. Every version of you that could ever exist already does. Each one broadcasting on its own frequency, like radio stations on a dial. There's the version of you who's calm and abundant, the one who's anxious and waiting, the one who's wildly creative and unstoppable. None of them are in the future. They're all here now, vibrating at different bandwidths within the same quantum field. When your identity stabilizes, you're not becoming that version. You're tuning to its frequency. The field doesn't require time to rearrange. It simply shifts your access. One station fades, another comes in clear. This is the real meaning of timeline jumping. You're not moving through time. You're changing stations of consciousness. And your identity is the tuner. Think about it this way. If you walk into a room where a radio plays static, twisting the dial doesn't change the air. It changes which signal you allow through. The air was already full of songs. The question is which one you decide to hear. Now let's bring this into something tangible. A man stands before a mirror, straightening his tie before a job interview. His hands tremble. Inside, an old identity whispers, "You never get chosen. You're not confident enough. They'll see right through you." That voice tightens his breath, lowers his shoulders, distorts his tone. The interviewer feels it without knowing why. But what happens if, before he leaves, he places a hand over his heart and says, not as affirmation, but as activation, "I am the version of me who already belongs here." Then he breathes until that thought has a body. His spine lengthens, his gaze steadies, warmth spreads through his chest. The signal changes. The man who walks into the room is broadcasting a different code entirely. The mirror, the field, the interviewer, the outcome, simply reflects the new station. Confidence is no longer performed, it's embodied. And from that coherence, opportunities start aligning not as luck, but as resonance. Each identity shift is a portal. The moment you fully embody a new frequency, your life reorganizes to support it. People appear, paths unfold, even memories reinterpret themselves to match your chosen vibration. But here's the catch. You can't tune into the new station while clinging to the static of the old one. The field won't translate mixed signals. You have to choose which frequency you'll live from and hold it with your whole body, not just your thoughts. And to do that consistently, you need tools, real, repeatable ways to rehearse coherence until it becomes instinct. That's the next step, programming the body to remember the new signal. Identity doesn't solidify through insight, it solidifies through rehearsal. You can understand every law of vibration intellectually and still fall back into your old frequency if your body hasn't learned the new one yet. The key is repetition, not mechanical, but felt repetition. You're teaching your cells what safety, abundance, and alignment feel like until they stop being concepts and start being home. So let's build your toolkit. 4 simple but potent practices to train your signal. 1. Bridge statements. Instead of jumping from "I'm stuck" to "I'm limitless," build an energetic bridge that your nervous system can actually cross. Try this. "I'm open to remembering what it feels like to be free." That phrasing creates movement without resistance. The word remember tells the body this isn't foreign. It's familiar, just forgotten. Each time you repeat it with awareness, the signal gets smoother. 2. Somatic anchors. Find a gesture that tells your system, "This is who I am now." It could be pressing your thumb and middle finger together, rolling your shoulders back, or touching your heart. The point isn't the gesture, it's the emotional charge behind it. Every time you use that anchor while feeling coherence, your body starts to associate that motion with the frequency itself. Eventually, one small movement can bring you back into alignment instantly. 3. Quantum rehearsal. Each morning, instead of visualizing the future you want, visualize the now where it's already real. Feel the weight of that timeline in your body, how you walk, breathe, speak in that version. Let the sensations take over until the imagined scene becomes embodied memory. You're not daydreaming, you're rehearsing a new broadcast pattern. 4. The 5-second tune. Whenever anxiety spikes or doubt creeps in, use this rapid reset. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, exhale for 6. On the exhale, silently say, "Tuning in." Repeat twice. In 15 seconds, you shift from survival to signal clarity. This works because breath rhythmically reprograms the nervous system faster than logic ever could. These tools aren't meant to fix you. They're meant to make the new identity familiar. Once familiar, the frequency sustains itself. The body no longer questions it. The field no longer delays it. And that's when life starts mirroring you faster than you can plan. Have you noticed the moment you stopped gripping, what you wanted finally showed up? Tell me your story in the comments. It might unlock someone else's leap. But before the expansion stabilizes, the field always tests the edges. Because once you emit a clearer signal, the old patterns don't vanish. They try to pull you back into static. And how you handle that determines everything. Every time your frequency rises, 3 old programs try to hijack it. They sneak in fast, disguised as logic or self-discipline, but their purpose is the same, to drag you back into static. These are the 3 great distortions of the quantum code: urgency, split signals, and over-control. Let's start with urgency. Urgency is the nervous system's panic disguised as purpose. It tells you, if this doesn't happen now, I'll lose everything. The body floods with cortisol, the signal tightens, and the mirror reflects scarcity. The field interprets that contraction as not enough time, not enough safety. Here's the antidote. Slow down on purpose. When you consciously decelerate, walking slower, breathing deeper, speaking softer, you send a new message through your biology. I am not in danger. That single act expands your electromagnetic field. Paradoxically, things manifest faster the moment you stop rushing. Then comes split signals. This happens when one part of you prays for change, while another fears what that change would bring. You say, "I want abundance," but you secretly associate abundance with responsibility or exposure. The field can't decode mixed messages, so it pauses. To clear a split signal, you must integrate both voices. Ask, what part of me doesn't feel safe if this actually works? Then meet that part without judgment. The moment you bring the hidden fear into awareness, coherence returns. Integration always amplifies frequency. Repression always scrambles it. Finally, there's over-control. This is the ego's favorite disguise. You visualize, plan, affirm, track, all to make sure the manifestation happens your way. But the field operates on resonance, not micromanagement. Over-control tells the mirror, I don't trust the reflection, and mistrust collapses flow. Try this instead. Create a clear intention, then release how it arrives. Like tuning a radio, you set the station, but you don't force the song to play faster. The moment you surrender control, the bandwidth clears. That's not passivity, that's partnership with the field. Each of these obstacles isn't a failure. They're checkpoints. They show you where the code still carries resistance. Every time you meet one with awareness instead of frustration, you rewrite another fragment of your energetic syntax. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Coherence doesn't mean never wobbling. It means remembering how to retune when you do. And this is where the work becomes real, when you bring all of it into the simplest moments of daily life. Because manifestation doesn't happen in meditation. It happens while walking, eating, and speaking. And that's where we turn next. How to live your frequency in motion. Here's where quantum work becomes real. Not in rituals or visualizations, but in the ordinary moments when no one's watching. Coherence isn't something you do. It's something you live. The field doesn't wait for ceremony. It listens to how you breathe while checking your messages, how you walk through a grocery store, how you speak to yourself in silence. Every mundane act is an opportunity to reinforce or scramble your code. Think about walking. Most people move through their day on autopilot. Head forward, jaw tight, breath shallow. That posture tells the body, survival mode. But when you walk with awareness, shoulders back, spine tall, breath rhythmic, you're broadcasting safety and self-trust into the field. Each step becomes an affirmation that the timeline you want already exists beneath your feet. Or take eating. When you eat in a hurry, scrolling, or worrying, the body can't absorb energy. It defends against it. But if you pause, smell your food, breathe once before the first bite, your system receives nourishment as a frequency of abundance. You're training your biology to recognize having enough as a natural state. Even conversations are frequency transmissions. Every time you speak from fear, explaining yourself, defending, pleasing, you dilute your signal. But when you speak slowly, grounded in coherence, people feel the calm in your tone before they hear your words. You become the tuning fork that brings others into harmony. Integration means weaving this awareness into the texture of your day until the practice disappears. It's not about effort, it's about remembering. You breathe coherence into movement, attention, and speech until your energy stabilizes across all contexts. That's when the field responds with synchronicity, not as random events, but as mirrors of your embodied signal. Here's a small exercise to test this. For one day, pick one ordinary action, like opening doors. Each time you touch a handle, exhale gently and think, I enter coherence. Don't force meaning, feel it. By evening, you'll notice how much calmer and more connected your environment feels. The code starts updating without ceremony because you're living it in motion. Integration is where magic becomes measurable. The things that once required focus start happening naturally. People respond differently. Timing aligns. Money flows in subtle yet steady ways. You've stopped managing energy and started being it. And that's when a new challenge arises. Not collapse, but expansion. When your system stabilizes, the field invites you to apply this coherence to bigger arenas. Relationships, creativity, health, purpose. That's the next quantum frontier. Once your signal stabilizes in the ordinary, the field starts opening extraordinary gates. Coherence multiplies across domains like light reflecting through glass. Relationships, creativity, health, purpose, all begin to vibrate in sync with your new broadcast. The mirror doesn't just show one reflection anymore, it expands the whole scene around you. Let's start with relationships. When you radiate safety, people feel it before a word is spoken. You stop attracting chaos because your system no longer resonates with it. Emotional volatility doesn't hook you the same way. You recognize it as static and stay tuned to clarity. Conversations become cleaner, intimacy deepens, and even old connections reorganize around your new tone. You're no longer trying to be understood. You're naturally understood because your energy communicates coherence first. In creativity, the same code applies. Before, inspiration felt unpredictable. Some days electric, others empty. But when your nervous system rests in coherence, creative flow stops being sporadic. Ideas come as transmission, not struggle. You're no longer thinking up concepts. You're downloading frequencies. That's why great art, music, and innovation feel timeless. Their coherence captured in form. Then there's health. Every cell in your body responds to electromagnetic rhythm. When you live in chronic tension, cells contract and energy distribution falters. But when you sustain coherence, cellular communication improves. Healing accelerates. You feel less drained because your system isn't leaking signal through stress. The field mirrors vitality because you're broadcasting harmony at the biological level. And purpose. This is where the quantum mirror becomes breathtaking. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start realizing, "I am being done through." Purpose isn't a choice. It's a frequency your coherence reveals. The more you align, the more life uses you as a channel for expression. Opportunities, connections, and timing begin to converge with uncanny precision. What once felt like coincidence now feels like choreography. Let's ground this in one more story. A musician sits on her floor, surrounded by unfinished songs. Months of creative block have crushed her confidence. She used to force ideas, pushing late into the night, demanding brilliance. But tonight, she remembers the tuning. She closes her eyes, breathes, and lets her heartbeat sink with silence. One phrase, then another, arrives like a melody already known. Within an hour, the song writes itself. She's not creating, it's creating through her. That's coherence and expansion. As this energy extends into every domain, something larger starts whispering beneath it. A sense that you're not generating power, but aligning with an intelligence that's always been moving through you. And that's where the spiritual dimension of this code finally reveals itself. There's a moment, once coherence stabilizes, when you realize the field isn't just responding to you, it's communing with you. The boundary between self and source starts to dissolve. What felt like my manifestation becomes something deeper. Participation in a living intelligence that mirrors not your demands, but your alignment. This is the spiritual layer of the quantum code, the realization that you were never separate from the system you're influencing. You're both the signal and the mirror, the transmitter and the field. At first, this can feel disorienting. You notice that the more you try to control outcomes, the more the field resists. But the moment you surrender, fully, not as a tactic but as truth, everything opens. This is where the paradox reveals itself. The ultimate power in creation comes from releasing control, because control operates from fear of loss. Surrender operates from knowing you can't lose what's already aligned with your frequency. When you reach that state, you stop using the quantum laws and start embodying them. You're no longer manifesting, you're remembering. You sense that the field is not reacting to your commands, it's responding to your coherence as an aspect of its own awareness. You are a fragment of that intelligence, playing a role in its evolution. And here's what makes this so profoundly human. Surrender doesn't mean detachment. It means intimacy with reality so deep that you trust its rhythm more than your own plans. It's waking up in the morning and saying, "Show me how love moves through me today." That's alignment. That's quantum devotion. When you operate from this level, your energy changes the room you walk into. People breathe easier near you, not because you're trying to heal them, but because your coherence stabilizes theirs. You become a mirror that remembers, and through you, the field remembers itself. This is the stage where manifestation becomes secondary to service. You no longer chase outcomes. You tune to contribution. And ironically, that's when the most extraordinary manifestations arise, because the field expands fastest through love expressed. In that space, gratitude becomes your default broadcast. You stop asking for more because you realize everything you could ever want is a different facet of the same frequency, oneness translated through form. And when you embody that truth long enough, a profound peace arrives, not passive, but luminous. The signal becomes so steady that life stops testing and starts flowing through you like music that never ends. But there's one final layer to this code, where it all comes full circle. The moment the mirror, the signal, and the self merge into one clear frequency, that's where we land. Everything you've learned comes down to this. The quantum field is a mirror that speaks only one language, coherence. Not through words, not through effort, but through the frequency of your being. When you understand this, the search ends. You stop trying to bend reality and start being reality's tuning fork. The mirror stops feeling distant. You look into it and realize it was never reflecting the world back at you. It was reflecting you into the world. Every breath, every thought, every subtle gesture becomes a piece of code rippling outward. And when that code is written from alignment, safety in the body, clarity in the mind, openness in the heart, the field translates it instantly. Life rearranges itself in your image, not because you demanded it, but because you remembered how to transmit truth. That's the quantum code. It's not a secret formula. It's a state of coherence so complete that the boundary between intention and manifestation dissolves. You think, And it happens, not because you forced it, but because you became the clear signal it responds to. The real magic isn't changing your energy in seconds. It's realizing it was always changing moment by moment, with every focus, every breath, every belief. You simply learned how to direct it consciously. From here, everything becomes art. You walk differently, speak differently, choose differently. You no longer seek proof because your life becomes the evidence. The mirror and the maker are the same. So the next time reality wavers, don't fight the reflection. Breathe. Return to coherence. Remember, the code never left you. It's been waiting for you to notice you've always been the signal. Now let this truth ripple through you. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. That's the code rewritten. And maybe you felt it as you listened. The moment your breath synced, your chest softened, your energy shifted. That was your system remembering. So tell me, what changed right now as the mirror tuned back to you?